Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Anirban and I'm here to teach you how to be a better coder. So we are creating a Web3 voting system, and we have completed most of our UI UI services stuff and the Solidity code. So all that is left to do for us to create the UI for the user to interact with. So for that, we need two buttons where the users will click on to vote for any candidates, or multiple buttons for whatever how many candidates there are. And we need also some safeguards to check if the user has already voted or not. And if the user has already voted, then the UI should show the user that that person is already voted and shouldn't allow the user to vote again. So let's see how that looks. We are here where we have created our backend or our connect button, and if we disconnect our application, this should refresh back to the connect button, connect wallet button again. So what we want to do here is, so let's create one nav bar where this button will go to that nav bar. So we'll call it nav, and inside the nav we'll create a spacer which will occupy the entire space and put the button at the end of this uh, container. Let's first put the container here, put the connect button inside the nav bar and put the nav bar on the top. So we'll have some CSS styles here. I'll just do inline style display. I want it to be a flex box. Okay, and let's have some padding of 1 rem. Okay, looks good. This should ideally put it in the top. Let's see what is wrong. Okay, so we have some predefined CSS here which we don't need. We just need one CSS for the width to be 100%. Width to be 100%. Okay, and I think there are some more CSS in the index file, which is again we don't need. These are all the colors and all. One of the CSS is putting this entire thing in the middle. Just checking this, I guess. Okay, so yeah, so I'll just remove this logic, so this will put everything in the top. So I just don't want to mess the current color style which is there in this index CSS. You can modify this CSS to have your own custom color style or color scheme, but I like this scheme, so I kept it how it is. Now we have our connect button. So but this connect button is on the beginning of the nav bar, so I want it to the right hand side. So we can do it in many ways. One thing that I like to do is put a spacer. Let's call it spacer, and I'll just add a style, inline style here, style flex 1. Okay, so what will happen, this spacer will consume entire space that it can. So whatever space is remaining will be consumed by this. So if I do a inspect and put a and use this, so you can see this spacer is containing the entire nav bar and pushing the element to the left because it needs the entire space. This CSS flex 1, if it only works if it's a flex box, the parent is a flex display flex, then only this will work. And the moment you put flex 1, and by default this is flex 0, so this is getting more precedence, more priority, and that's why it's getting more space. So it will automatically push the everything to the right hand side. Okay, so now we have a navbar, and let's also add some logo or something like banner or whatever our logo or app name. Let's call it C code and chill CNC voting machine. That will come up automatically here. Now we can decorate it later, but let me just decorate it for now. I can't just look at it like this. It's looking very ugly. Font size, let's make it 1.2 rem, and font one minute, and this is comma, font weight, let's give it 600. Yeah, still better. Okay, now we have everything in the navbar. We'll have a main content. You can have it a div, or in the nav also you can, instead of nav you can have a div element, but this is just a better way to handle stuff, because search engines or other automated site checkers will automatically identify that this is an app bar and this is the main content. So this is nothing to do with the UI or HTML specifically, or means there's nothing special about this main and nav. You can use div, it will still work. So we have our main content where we will show our stuff. So let's first fetch the candidate details. So we'll have the candidates here. So now you will see how these services are very useful. We just need candidates. Okay, equals use app selector as dot, this is the arrow function. So in the app selector we'll get the state as an argument. We have to pass a selector function, and the argument of the selector function will be our state that we had just created in the store. So and we can see the state here. This is our state, which is the root element is a state. We have contract, we have services. So we need to get the contract node, and from the contract node we can get the candidates here. So let's get the contract node, and there we have the candidates. So this will give us all the candidate details. Let's see and print these details. Now that we are in the UI mode, UI building mode, so we should be able to see everything that we are doing. Let's do a map X or C for candidate, and in the URL return section we'll have, see what we have in the candidates. What are the things that we can get from the candidate? Let's see. We have avatar URL, we have candidate ID, name, and vote count. So let's first give the name. Let's create a div candidate. Okay, candidate, and inside this we'll just have everything. Name, we will have first let's have the image in the top. Avatar, name, and we also need a vote button dot vote. button. Okay, these are the only three things we need. Let's see, name, vote button. That's all. Okay, let's print all the values from the candidate section. C dot. Okay, because this is an image, first let's put it in as an. Okay, let's just at the beginning we'll just print the URLs or the text values to see how this looks. C dot. Okay, C dot name and C dot vote. C dot vote counter and C. Yes, so okay, so we have the values here. First one is the Obama and has a 0 vote because we have not voted anyone, and we have Modi and has a 0 vote. Okay, so everything is coming correctly. What we need, let's create two components out of these. Let's go to components folder and right click and create a folder, vote card, and inside the vote card we'll have an index file. I do it like this. We can do a index instead of a folder. We can directly add a tsx file with vote card name on it. But then again, if we want to have some separate styles file, SCSS files or CSS files for this, it will be again will be mixed up with other files. So I like to have a separate folder for each component and have all the styles and all the separate files that is needed for that component inside that folder. So that's just to keep it organized, but you can do it if other way if you prefer that. Let's create a component, vote card, and inside this component we'll have the stuff that we just put in our app.tsx file. We'll just remove this, or we'll just copy this entire thing, put it in our vote card, and we'll have this candidate as an input. So we'll need let's do one thing. We'll just need the ID of the candidate, ID, and we'll fetch the details of the candidate directly from the auth service. So this will be a number, and here what we will do, we will just let candidate equals use app selector s dot contract dot candidates dot find x is equal to x dot. So we'll find from the candidates list, we want to find the candidate with this ID. So we'll have a find command in this, find function in this, and inside we'll just match the candidate ID with the ID that is provided. So this will give us a candidate item directly. And we'll also need to see, okay, let's first add these things in here. So we'll just do a fraction. What is this called? Frac. I forgot. Okay, so let's come to the container. We will need an image. Okay, candidates. So let's do one thing. What we want to do here is we want to style this container. To style this container, let's create a style file, SCSS or style file, SCSS file for the styles. This is why I wanted to have a folder instead of directly a file for the component, and we'll call it styles.module.scss. Hey, let me check if I have installed SCSS. I don't think I have installed SCSS. So what we need, I want to do these kind of stuff in SCSS format because it has some cool features that I want to use. So to use SCSS, just do a yarn add SCSS or SASS. So this library is required to have to be able to write SCSS files. So if you are using npm, just use npm install SASS. Because I'm using yarn, so for me it will be yarn.add or yarn add SASS. Okay, once we have SCSS installed, let me just remove this. Okay, once we have SCSS installed, we can just start our dev server and let's write our SCSS file. Before we write our SCSS file, we'll just need to import this. Import sty styles from. So just one thing to make sure, you should have the naming convention of your file with this format. You can have anything in the first segment of this can be abc, whatever you want to have, but the rest of the format should be module.scss, because if you don't do it like this and if you import the style, it will be applied to your entire application. But if you do it with this format, this naming convention, this will only be applied in this component that you are importing into. So that is just one information that might be useful to you. Okay, so now what we want, instead of these plain text, we want the name to be coming from this styles object. Just remove this quotation, put the styles dot candidate. So this will pull the class name from the file and put it here. So when we create a file with this name will be automatically created appended with a random text, so that this can be unique to this component. And we need again styles.avatar, and same goes for, okay, there is one, same goes for this one, styles.name, and we all have again styles.vote button. Let's see. Okay, so nothing changes because we haven't put these styles here. So let's copy this name and put it here, and dot candidate, start your styling. Okay, so I want the width of this container to be something like width 15 RDM. Let's see. Okay, so this is going 15 RDM. Have some box shadow. So I want some box shadow to appear. Before that, let's just first here there is one thing that I just want to have is just copy this. Instead of image, I want this to have a background image of this div. So because in the CSS file we'll not have access to this variable, we'll just have it here in the styles. Background image equals quotation URL, and inside the URL we'll have this. Okay, let's make it formatted string, and that way we can now do this and put this value here. We don't need this anymore. Okay, have some quotation. We need a quotation here, and this will be colon instead of equal. So okay, it's not showing up because we have not given any width or height to this container. We'll do it here. So this is avatar, Let's go to .avatar avatar. Inside the avatar, we'll have width and height of 12 rem, width 12 rem, height 12 rem. Let's see. Okay, it's coming up. Good. What we need is, we want currently the images are of its original size. We want this to be shrinked and adjust to the container size. So we want the background of the container, or background of the div, background size to be cover. Okay, it's covering. We also want the background position to be centered. Okay, background position, background. It is, I think, position. I'm not sure. Let me check. Origin. I think it's position, maybe. Center. Background position. That's, I think that is the one. Let me just confirm. Background position, property, background position, center. Okay, so they just don't want these quotation, and this will work. Okay, let's check what was before. So it was somewhere tilted. It started from here and tried to adjust it. And if we give the center stuff, and this will try to put the image at the center. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now let's what we want here is, we want the name to be bold and have a button. Okay, for that, what was the name of this container? Name. Let's go to the name. Font. Okay, first, text alignment. I need it to be center. Okay, one thing is, what is the width of this? Okay, so what we also want this to be centered. Let's first add some border radius. 2.5 rem. Okay, it looks good. And margin auto. This will put it in the center. Our text is also centered. We also want our vote button to be centered. Vote btn align self center, or what is this? I'm not sure. Align. Okay, let me just put it align items center, or what is it? Justify. This is why I do it from this here. Let's come to the container of this, right? We want this to be a flex container. Okay, fine. Candidate. Just do a flex container. Display flex and flex direction. If we do a display flex, what will happen? It will just do a row horizontal stuff, so everything will come horizontally. We don't want that. We want to have a column vertical stuff, so stuff to be laid out vertically, and that's why we need a flex direction is column. This will put it okay, and you can see automatically everything comes in the center. Okay, let's have some button style. Because this is a button, let's put a button here. I think button has already been styled, so we don't have to do a styling again. Button, and inside the button will be the voting number, and we'll have a vote. Let's have another element called total uh, total votes, and we'll again have a style for this, styles dot total vote, and here we'll just put the total vote. Okay, I did something stupid again. Let's cut this and put it here. Total votes, not total. Okay, we'll have a total vote and we have a button. Let's call the text of the button vote. Okay, looks good. Let's come to the styles and copy this name. We want to have some control on this, and let's do a font weight 600. Have some like depth to it. Okay, and okay, now let's have some gap between all these. It's too much close on top of each other. Too much it is. Let's have some 0.15. Looks good. And have some padding, 1 REM. Not bad. Okay, now let's go to search for CSS shadow. We have this website called Get CSS Scan and has some 93 beautiful CSS shadows. I use this all the time. So we can have some shadows from here. You can pick any shadows from this list. Just pick one and you are good. I like to use this one, and let's put this here. Okay, we have some shadows. Let's modify it little bit. Just want some depth, or let's first add some border radius 1 REM. How this looks, it's good. I'm fine with it. Have some. Okay, so we have our vote card ready. Want to have a little bit more padding? No. What is this? Padding 1 REM. Okay, this looks good because I want the top and bottom padding to be a little bit more thick, and this one to be a little bit less. Okay, this is good. Now let's come to our app and put some inline styles will be enough for this. Now we'll have the display as a flex box. Flex, this will put everything side by side, and we want some gap here. Gap to REM. Okay, not bad. And we also want this to be centered, so let's do an interactive check. This is our Chrome debugger tool. Here we can just do a justify. Okay, so this looks good. If I use justify center, this comes center, so we can use this feature, and we'll just type here justify content, and the value of justify content will be center. Okay, so we can now remove it from here. Oh, okay, let's refresh it. It should. Now it's good. What we want here is, now when we click on this vote, the service from the contract service should be called, and the contract, our Solidity contract should be called with this vote function. Let's do that. Let's come to this vote component and add some event handlers to this button. We have this on click, so whenever this is clicked, this will get triggered. we have this event. We want this event to be, we don't want this event to be propagated, so prevent default, we need default, whatever default action is prevented. We also want to stop the propagation, and let's do everything that we want to do from here. So if there is candidate, if candidate is present, then only we want to vote. Otherwise, by any chance, this card gets, okay, it is anyway not required, but still let's have that. And we want to dispatch one function, dispatch one action. So we want a dispatcher, const dispatch equals use dispatch, or we'll call it app dispatch because we have created our app dispatcher. We created an app dispatcher, right? Yeah, so this is app dispatch. Okay, use this app dispatch. Not sure why it's not okay. Okay, so this is just a type, so this will be app dispatch, and we'll call it use dispatch. This will make sure that we are providing correct actions to this dispatch function, not a random payload. And this is where we'll put our vote function. So let's go to the contract. What is the vote? Vote for candidate. This is the function that or service that we want to call. We want to give the ID, candidate dot ID. Let's import this. Let's see, we just the number. Okay, so we are supplying the candidate ID, and this will vote for that particular person. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, let's vote. This is strange because we should be able to vote. Let me refresh. Okay, so if you can see, we are not connected to our wallet. Because we are not connected to our wallet, our signer is not initialized. So we want to have a condition here. If the wallet is not connected, we should not be able to see these options, or we will be able to see this option, but voting buttons should not be activated. We'll have this in the vote or vote card component. Let's let count, or let's see what are the services that, what are the variables that we have. Is connected, so we just want to see if is connected is there or not. Is connected equals use app selector, and in this we'll have wallet dot is connected, so we'll know it is connected or not. And in this we'll just disable equals is connected. So if not is connected, if wallet is not connected, then this disable votes will be disabled. For some reason we're still able to see some. Okay, we'll just have a text here. If not is connected, and here again another thing is if connected, then we want something else. Okay, or we can simplify this with the help of like is connected, then we can have a ternary operator. Inside this we'll have a colon, yeah, whatever options that you prefer. Okay, we'll just put this vote. If it is connected, then we'll have a vote comma, or else please connect wallet to vote. Okay. Please connect to vote. I think this is short enough. Yeah. So right now we are not connected. Let's connect the wallet and see how that looks. Cool. So we have our buttons ready. Now if we click, this should open up our MetaMask. Cool. So let's confirm. Candidate vote is voted. I think it's voted. Voting, voted. Oh, looks good. Voted is true. Candidate values still vote counter is still 0. So what we want to do is we want to fetch the details of the candidate for each vote, each candidate, for details of the vote count of for each candidate. So to do that, we need to go to the contract service and we want to read the vote numbers of that candidate. So to do that, what we will do, we need another function that we forgot to write. Let's write it now. Update candidate vote. Okay, and we'll just put it here. We need the candidate ID and the get states. Everything is there. Everything looks good. What we want to do here, let's go to our contract folder and see the contract for once, and we should be able to check for a candidate. So we have a candidates mapping. If we use this candidates mapping, we can get the vote count for the candidate. Let's come back to our contract or our UI, and we'll have this candidates. So all the variables that we see in our Solidity code is we can treat them as a function in our UI and put the if it's an array, we can treat it as a function and put the index of that array in the function argument, something like this. So candidates and the candidate ID, this will give the candidate from that array. And once we have the candidate item, it will be a candidate. So let's just have this candidate. Let's put this candidate elements, or let's create one separate interface contract candidate equals, or it's not equals, it will be like this. And let's export this as well, and let's see what are the things that it has. Yeah, so let me check one thing. Is it returning the correct stuff? Okay, so it is returning the stuff, but this is coming as a big int, which we don't want. And name and vote count is coming correctly. Okay, let's put the value here first. Candidate, or let's remove, we don't need this. Okay, this we already have imported our type chains from here, which is giving us the TypeScript definitions from here, so we are good. Let's candidate equals this, and if you see, we are getting the type for each and every element, so we're good. We just want to have one thing, that is return everything looks good, candidate, comma, we want the ID to be a number instead of a big int. So to convert a big int to a, if you see, this is id is coming as a big int, so it's a big integer. We don't want this because the JavaScript will not support this. We just need to convert this to a number, or let me check, candidate.id dot value of okay, or is it, let me check, big int to number. Okay, JavaScript big int. Okay, so I'll just do a number, which I was thinking in the beginning only. Okay, so just do a number and put the big int here. It will automatically convert it to number. Okay, so this is good. We just want to have the return type instead of void. It should be id number name string, and what else we have okay, we also have vote count as a big int, so that is also needs to be converted. A number and candidate dot vote count. Okay, so we need vote count. This is number. Let's refresh this, and looks good. I just need to add this in our actions. Let's copy one of the actions. Okay, paste, and this will be coming from here. Pending, fulfilled, rejected. Okay. Dot loading. This will be loading. Loading. Okay, and this will be is loaded. Loaded. Okay, error loading equals true. Okay, so only thing we need to do is in the fulfilled section we'll just update state dot candidates. Okay, let's just do a let candidate equals state dot find. Just need to find that candidate. X dot candidate id equals action dot payload dot id. So if candidate is not found, just do a return state. So because we have not found that candidate, we can throw an error, but let's keep it simple for now. And if it is found, then we'll just update that candidate dot vote counter is equal to action dot, what is that, payload dot vote count. Okay, now we just have to put it back to state dot candidates is equal to state state dot candidates dot filter. We just don't want to add that existing candidate that is already there. We'll just replace that with our new one. It might not be required because we are updating here. If it is passed by reference, it should be automatically updated, but let's, in case it doesn't, we'll just have the candidate here. So this will remove the candidate from this candidate list and put all the other candidates, and this will put the candidate from the list from this candidate. Okay, what is the error? I will literally specify unknown property candidate does not either. Okay, this will be an array instead of Now this we are good. Let's return this state. Okay, now what we will have is we have this service that we want to call in this vote card to update our vote count. Let's do it once the component is created. So to do that, use effect, and inside this will just, this will be called only once because we are supplying no dependency in that dependencies list. Let's put dispatch and have this function and candidate dot candidate id. Let's, okay, we have given some, we have added some typo here. I think it is update candidate. Let's put it everywhere. Okay, god, I'm very bad at this. Okay, let's update the import, and this should be, let's have a condition as well. If candidate, okay, let's also put a dependency here. If the candidate is updated, what is happening here? I have no idea why this many candidates are appearing. Okay. This is not being called every time. I think we are good. Wallet connect, vote for candidate rejected. What was the rejection? Why it is rejected? Let's see. What was the error? Voting. Is there any error? Pardon, not defined, or key props, not this one. Goodbye. Huh. We also want to check if it is connected. So if candidate and it is connected. So let's, okay, so something is happening. Non-serializable value detected in action, payload, blah blah blah. So it should not happen. Let's go back and check. What are the things we are passing? Big int string, big int. So let's just put let it equals this. Okay, let's only have these two elements and return this ret. Let's don't add the name. We don't need the name. We already know the name. And see this should work or not. This is might be due to that ID or big int stuff. Let's see. And again we are getting some error. So this is right now, this is, the error is different, that I guess. So there are too many times this voting is called. Let me just do a refresh. So okay, this ID and this ID is different. Okay, so this will be not equals. So we should exclude the one that is already there, and that we are already supplying. This is the updated one, and we should exclude the previous one. So it should be now good. This is equal, not double equals. Let's refresh. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the ordering is changing. We don't want the order to be changed every time. Also, we don't want the IDs to be okay. So that can be fixed by providing a key element here. Key equals ID, or this will be candidate ID. Okay, let's see if the ordering stays same. Okay, so this is again changing. The order is changing. That is, just have to keep the order. What we can do is put a state. Just do a sort of that. Candidates equals a state dot candidates dot sort. Key is x dot based on the based on the candidate ID, we want to sort the candidates. Still, it should not sort it. Okay, let's see. Let's just remove these two lines. I think this will be enough. This should update the internal. Okay, still why the sorting is happening? Okay, let's do one thing. Okay, first let's stop the multiple calls that we are getting. So this is should be candidate.id. Let's just put ID here. Okay, instead of don't want this, just want ID to be present. Disconnected. Okay, so now it is not calling the function this function every time the candidate is updated, because what was happening, we are calling this effect every time this candidate is being updated, but every time we are updating the store, this object was being updated, and that's why this effect was being called. We don't want that. We just want the whenever the ID is updated in this function, we should be able to get the details. Okay, now let's also call this function every time we call the is vote for candidate is called. Okay, so how should we do that? So let me check what are the things that is being updated when we vote. When we vote, the things that are being updated is voting or is voted. So every time is voted is updated. We just want to call this function. So let me also add the is. Okay, let's first add the is voted in the scene. Is voted this will come from contract is voted. Okay, so now put this is voted here. We are good. We should be able to, this should automatically fetch this vote whenever we vote for that particular candidate. This is good. Now only one thing remaining is we also want this is voted function to be appearing, because if I currently click on vote again, I should be able to vote. I should not be able to vote again. You can see it's not voting, or it's not giving any votes. Okay, so if you see, we are getting some error. Let's see the error. Where is the error? We have not provided the error message. Okay, it's just a true false. Let me come to this. We can see that there's an internal error coming from MetaMask, and it is saying that execution reverted, you have already voted. So it should we are not able to vote, but we don't want the user to have that option at all. Let's do one thing. Just in the top of our main content, just add a conditional element, which will first we'll just import the is voted here as well, and we'll check if it is already voted. And if we have already voted, then we should see a message called a heading h2, let's say h2, and it'll say you have already voted. So this should appear here. Let's see. Okay, so now it is not appearing because this variable is still false, because we have not synced with our contract. To do this, what we need to do is, let's add another use effect here. Use effect, and this effect will check the voting state the moment our wallet is connected. So we also need is connected. Let's copy it from is connected from this contract or this vote card component and put it here. And we need this is connected, put it here, and the moment the wallet is connected, if is connected, we want to dispatch a function, or do we want to dispatch a action? Dispatch, what was that? Fetch vote state, and this will be, what was the input? Okay, let's see, I forgot the input. Fetch vote state, voters. Why do we need this? We don't need this, so let's put void here, because we are not even using the input, so it's fine. Okay, so it should be fine now. Let's see in the app. Okay, the moment it is connected, we should call the is voted, and let's see in the Redux is voted, fetch vote is being called or not. Okay, it should have happened by now. Let me refresh the page and see if this is happening. Okay, connected. Is it connected? Yes, it is connected. So why it is not dispatching this votes for fetch vote state? The fetch vote state is not called once. Update candidate. Okay, fetch vote state should have been called. Let's see. Okay, we also, so there is a check if the signer is present and we have the account address. So let's make sure the account address is also there. Oh man, just account is also connected, so this might happen before the account is updated in the state, and if our function is called before that, it will not work. So we'll just add this, and we'll add if and account. So if it is there, okay, now you have already voted. We also want this same thing, all these options to be there in our vote card. So if it is already voted, we want to disable if not connected, or if is voted. So vote should be disabled. Okay. And we also want this to be, let's style this, yeah, so this to be centered. Okay, sty style, what is it? Let's style it from the browser and we'll then style it from the we want the width to be fit content, margin to be auto, it will automatically center. We want margin bottom to be 2 REM. We want some space. Give me some space, man. Okay. PJ. With fit content, margin auto, and we also need margin bottom as 2 REM. Okay, I think that's all. So now we have a working voting machine ready, and anyone in the world can come to this website and click on whichever person that person wants to vote, and he will not be able to cheat, because even if the UI is not showing up you have voted, or is not disabling the buttons, the contract will also not allow the user to vote, even if the user, let's say, hacks the UI and try to vote it from by hacking the UI and changing the elements. The contract will also not allow the user to vote, so you will only be able to vote any one person. Let me just make the competition even. Come to here, connect, and we okay, so now the account is changed. We see that we don't see that you have already voted option. Let's vote. Okay, this should not have happened until unless we vote. Let's fix that. Yeah, okay, so we reject that and it's gone. But let's see, vote state, fetch vote state. Let me try one more time and see, or why this is appearing. Okay, whenever the fetch vote is coming as pending, we don't want this fetch vote state, error loading, fulfilled, rejected, vote, fetch vote. Where is fetch vote? Fetch vote pending, fetch vote fulfilled, fetch vote. Where is fulfilled? Okay, this is the fulfilled part. Is voted. Until unless it is fulfilled, why this is being changed? Let's see. Okay, so we have is voted for true. Is voted true, should not be true. Okay, now let's see what is the stuff that is. So from here we have update vote candidate. We'll click on vote. Okay, what is being called? Pending. So it is in pending state. Vote. Let's check. Is voted. Where else it's being updated? Okay, so it is in the pending state. It is false. It's true. Why? I have no idea. So if it isn't voted, okay. We don't want this to be updated. Is voting should be. Oh, it is trying to fetch the details. Should not be doing all this. Let's just don't do anything when it's pending. Okay, vote for candidate. Vote for candidate. Is voting. We can make this true. If we are voting for a candidate, we are voting true. When it is voted, should be true. Voting is false. It's rejected, voted is false. Or don't need to update anything, because this will only be updated when it is successful. So voting will be in case of rejection, voting will be false, error voting will be true. Okay, now this looks good. Also, we just need error to be false. Okay, let's see. This should work now. Okay, so now it's not showing up. Let's confirm. And if voted is true, then only we should be updating that component. So that is one thing that let's check. We also want this to be, if it is voted, then only just update the component, because otherwise. Okay, so we can see it's already updated, and we have one. It's even now. Yeah. So yeah, that's all, guys. Be it's for your voting machine, you can have as many candidates as you want and have a voting competition, or have a poll, or have anything that you want of the same logic, same thing. Have a decentralized democracy at your fingertip. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.